Thanks very much, Ravi. It's good to see everyone this morning, or now into the afternoon. I want to thank Narissa Allen for joining us virtually from Vancouver to talk about the impact of this program on her business association, the Black Business Association of British Columbia. I want to also just take a moment to thank all of the businesses that have been working tirelessly over the past 12 months to meet public health guidelines, to work through WorkSafe to ensure that their place of business was safe for themselves, for their workers, and for their customers. It's been a very challenging time. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but I just wanted to say once again, as we see the finish line, we're so close. We're so close with hundreds of thousands of vaccines having been already delivered, with many hundreds of thousands ready to come in the next number of days and weeks. I want to say to those businesses who have been hanging in there, keep going. We're here for you. We put in place numerous programs, as Ravi has outlined. But the one I want to talk about today is the launch of Online BC and the e-commerce explosion we've seen as a result of COVID-19. E-commerce sales doubled in 2020, and we can expect to see further increases in years ahead, not just as a result of public health measures, of course, but because consumer habits are changing and the need for entrepreneurs and retailers particularly to change has to be at the same pace. In February, just a few weeks ago, when we launched Online BC, or the Launch Online program, we put $12 million in place, and we assumed that that would mean $7,500 grants for businesses that were eligible. Well, we've had over 3,500 applications. We've exhausted the initial $12 million, and we are announcing today an additional $30 million to expand the program and include not just those who are selling a good, but those that are also selling services. This is very, very good news for our hard-hit tourism sector. This will assist with online bookings. It will allow businesses who do not have a robust online presence to get the help that they need so that we can bring in professional help. This will expand obviously our ability to use technologies, to use the internet, to do business, whether it be goods or services. And this is pretty exciting for businesses across BC. I want to make sure also, we've heard many, many times that although we are all in a storm, we're all in different boats as well, whether we're in rural BC, remote parts of British Columbia, or in our urban centers. And it's had a disproportionate impact on people as well, largely people of color, largely women. And so although we hived out 25% of this program for Indigenous and rural businesses, we're expanding that carve out to 30%, and it will also include people of color, people who are running businesses who are having the challenges that we've talked about for so many months now. This is good news. Narissa will talk about the consequences for her and her sector. But for all British Columbians, I want to say that I know in my own household there's an apprehension about online shopping. We like to go into the local businesses in our community, but those local businesses are now going online to keep alive. And I want to encourage people to always shop locally, of course, but you don't have to go into the storefront any longer. You can go online. This program is designed to make sure that as we come out of COVID, we've got the technologies in place, we've got the dollars behind this to make sure it will work. Minister Kahlon has been meticulous in setting this up. He has been reaching out and listening to people. That's why we've expanded away from just durable goods to services as well. That means tourism operators, hairstylists, not-for-profits, a whole range of groups and companies will be able to access this money, and it will help them get back on their feet faster. This has been an extraordinary 12 months. We all get that. But over the next few months, I want British Columbians to focus on one thing and one thing only. Do not stop now. Continue to follow public health orders. Continue to wait for your turn to get a vaccination. Follow these orders. Be safe, be well, be kind to each other. And by the summer, we'll be back to something resembling normal. I can't wait for that, and I know that's the same for British Columbians in every part of the province. I'll pass it back to Ravi now, and then we'll get into questions after that.
Thank you very much, Premier, and thank you for sharing the good news. Certainly going to be welcome news for many businesses throughout BC, and these dollars are going to go a long way to help our businesses adapt, to make the investments and the changes they need for their businesses to grow their markets. And I don't want to echo the Premier's comments about how difficult of a year it's been for our businesses, but we have just an incredibly resilient business community here in BC. And I'm very proud of all the innovation and the work that they've done. As the Premier mentioned, we're all in the same storm, but we're in different boats, and we know that the impacts of the pandemic has disproportionately impacted Indigenous, Black, people of color, new immigrant communities, women. And so I'm particularly proud of the addition of 30% of dollars dedicated to support Black, Indigenous, people of color, as well as rural communities, to ensure that those communities get access to those dollars to be able to make the investments to transition to the new way of doing business. And so with that today, we have Narissa Allen, who is a business leader and also the head of the Black Business Association of BC. And so I'd like to invite Narissa Allen to speak about the benefits of today's announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Kahlon, and thank you for having me here today, Premier. This pandemic has impacted so many people in BC and across Canada. It's disproportionately affected the communities of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. With over 400 Black businesses in BC alone, we're really happy to see that funds have been carved out and set aside for the Black, Indigenous, and people of color business communities. This change, along with and combining the opening of the grant to service-based businesses, is really going to make a big difference in the recovery of our businesses. Market access is a big tool, is a key function in the recovery of our businesses. Our barbers, our salons, our consultants, our RMTs, our physiotherapists, consultants, entertainers, our tradespeople. This is just a subsection of the service-based businesses that are going to benefit from this opening of the grant to service-based businesses. With market access, what the online grant program will do is it's going to allow these businesses to diversify their portfolio, and it'll allow them to increase their market access, which is essential for scaling and growing their businesses and keeping alive during this pandemic and during this time of need. We have to ensure that the tools are available for our businesses to pivot, and that's crucial to ensure that our economy is resilient. We, as business owners and as businesses in BC, we deserve support from the government, and we're happy to see that they've invested additional funding to the business community here in BC. I hope that, and I'm hopeful that this funding is not only going to allow for businesses to recover at a faster rate and pivot to online and increase their marketing and their sales, but it's also going to help them to mitigate risk in the future. So once again, thank you for the changes to the Launch Online grant program. Thank you for having me here today, and I'll pass it back to you. Thank you, Premier and Minister Kahlon.
Thank you so much, Narissa, and of course, thank you so much, Premier. I'll just say that the pace of change, the change that we've seen in the last year, most would not have expected that to happen for 7 to 10 years, and that pace is not about to slow down. And so today's announcement will help all our businesses to adapt to that change, to get ahead of that change, in partnership with our 3 main pillars for economic recovery, which is led by innovation, ensuring that we're having a sustainable recovery, and that the recovery is felt equally amongst all communities. And so the addition for 30% dollars for BIPOC and rural businesses, I think, is going to go a long way. And I'll just end with saying something that the Premier highlighted, which is please buy local. support your local businesses. Now businesses will be able to set up their online functions. Please look out for your local business. They need us and we need them. So with that, I will pass it over to the moderators for a Q&A.